Hey guys, just wanted to do a video today to talk about a pretty interesting topic. It's a topic that I've seen all over ESPN and all over the internet, but it's about college athletes being paid. And in this video, I kind of wanted to go over, should they be paid and what paying them will do to the game in and of itself or to the sports in and of itself, and will it change the game? Um, we're in 2024 now, and they're paying college athletes. And one thing I wanted to reference was, um, we can talk about college football because college football is probably brings in the most money, and it's just an example that I'm familiar with. So, um, the best, or the University of Alabama's coach, the football coach, Nick Saban, he's regarded as the best coach of all time. He just recently retired, um, and I think there's a little bit more to that. I don't really um, think it's just a coincidence. I think him retiring right around when the athletes are getting paid means something. Um, and him retiring around the same time kind of coincides with like my opinion on what it could do to the game. So, you know, when you get to pro sports, it's expected you're going to get paid. It's a business and a sport, but I feel like college athlete is a little bit more tradition and team game and learning, and there's no I in team. But I feel like when you pay college athletes, which is what they're doing now, it kind of takes away from that. In and of itself, paying college athletes, I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. Who gets paid what, and rules and regulations, and it's just a lot. Um, and then that in and of itself takes away from the game a little bit. But when you build a team, and when you're a coach or whatever, and you're like, we're a team, and there's no I in team, and you start paying college athletes, I feel like it kind of affects that, and it makes um, guys on the team, feel a certain way. They might say they don't, but I think they do. Because like the best guy in the team, even though he's the best, everyone acknowledges that. Whatever, he's getting. What's he going to get paid? A lot more than the 10th or 11th guy on the team, or the guy that's not as good. So it kind of makes the players feel a certain way, and maybe act a certain way, and it becomes more individualized and a team game. And honestly, unless you got a really good support structure on your team or at your school or a coach, I could see it getting very messy. But but yeah, in general, guys, and I think this is what the coach Nick Saban of the Alabama football team, who is like I said, he's pretty much the best of all time. I think this is what he was thinking. I think when you introduce money into the sport for college athletes, young college athletes, I think it takes away from the focus a little bit of winning and being a team and staying together and stuff like that. And I think it kind of is a distraction. It's just pretty much plain and simple. It's kind of a distraction. And when you introduce that into the game, it takes away from it, and it's hard to manage, and it's just, in some people's opinion, a nightmare. And I'm sure that's what Coach Saban was thinking. Like, this is just a nightmare. I'm gonna retire because this is the time that this is my time. I need to get out at this time. And some coaches, some people might not be as negative. They might think it's a good thing to pay the college athletes, and I've come around, and I think I agree with that. I just gave you my opinion on what it can do to the game. Um, and obviously I didn't mention this, but when you bring the money in and you affect the game, it can affect winning. It could break apart teams, and players can get jealous, and it could just get messy, which I'm sure you guys can understand. But and then as far as paying them, in my opinion, originally I kind of had that old school mentality of like, listen, the athlete is getting a free education, free room and board, free food, pretty much fame. They're on TV. All the students at the school and the teachers, teach them, or I'm sorry, kind of treat them as like a, kind of like they're famous. You know what I mean? So I thought that was enough originally, but I think there's enough money to go around, and when you're making a school as much money as you are, um, someone can think, oh, you know, getting all that stuff I just mentioned is enough. When it comes down to it, some of these some of these students need it. Some of these students come from families that have nothing. Some of these students come from families that have family members that are sick and struggling and don't have enough money to pay medical bills, etc. Some of these athletes have parents that are working so many different jobs, and it's tough. Some of these athletes, won't make it to the pros, even though they're good athletes. They won't make it to the pros like other guys on their teams will. And so those guys that go into the pros are going to make millions. So I feel like those guys that are on the team that are good, that have an opportunity to get some money while they can, that if they're not going to go to the pros, that can help them. Um, so I've come around. In my opinion, I feel like they should get paid. I huff and puff because, like I said, it's just such a process, and there's got to be so many rules, and so many bad things can happen. But I'm a fan of being optimistic, and like I said, some of these athletes could really use the money, and even the ones that don't need the money, they're going to make way more in the pros. Um, I feel like they should be paid because they're just like they're pretty much famous. They're all over TV. They're bringing in all this revenue. They're selling jerseys, even though their their name might be on it or might not be on it. And they're bringing in a lot of money, and I feel like they should be compensated because even though they're not making the millions yet in the pros, I'm sure those athletes have things they could do with the money, and family members that they can help, and whatever. So yeah, so I think they should be paid. I think we should be optimistic, even though it's going to be tough to regulate it. Everything will work itself out, and I think schools should really take into consideration that it's going to be really hard to manage this. So they should put in good support systems for the coaches and stuff to really keep team morale and teams together, and keep students and players from getting jealous and everything. And yeah, I think it'll all work out. So, but anyways, let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the comment section. Like this video. Make sure you subscribe. I would love to hear what you guys think of about this topic and your opinions. And I'll be sure to reply to your comments. All right, guys. See you. What's up, guys? I wanted to make a video today about Tinder. Tinder is a dating app for those of you who don't know. Um, for those of you who do know, I'm just going to go into detail about kind of what it is, what it's all about, and where it stands today and how it's doing, and my personal preference. Um, Tinder was created in 2012 and it blew up pretty quickly. It was all over the internet, all over TV shows, and a lot of people were making jokes about Tinder. But basically, the gist of Tinder was it was a dating app that allowed you to meet people that lived around you. And what it basically did was it used your location on your phone if you allowed it to. And based on your location, you choose your radius and the distance that you want Tinder to show you people how, that are close by or far away. And you can choose people that are, 5 miles away from you, and Tinder will show you a bunch of profiles that the people live within 5 miles, or you can go 100 miles. It's pretty much up to you. It's your personal preference. A lot of people use Tinder when they're traveling, like if you go to another state or country and you just want to meet people, or whatever. You can adjust your settings based on wherever you are, and you can meet people that way. But anyways, like I said, Tinder, hit the ground running, and they were pretty big. And I ended up using it. I've used a lot of dating apps, and I used Tinder. And when it first came out, it was popular. I mean, everybody used it. The whole gist of Tinder was it was so simple. It was almost like, why didn't I think of an app to create like this? But basically, all you do is you create I mean, I'm not going into too much detail, but you create a profile, you add pictures, it allows you to add like a bio, stuff like that, and you pick a radius, like I said. Normally, I would do up to like, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 miles away. Anything beyond that to me is not worth it. But that again, that's just my personal preference. I believe it lets you go up to like maybe like 100 miles away, and it'll show you people's profile that are up to 100 miles away. But it doesn't limit it to that. So if you put like 50 miles, it'll show you people that are 1 mile away, and it'll show you people up to 100 miles away. So it's just up to. It's not limited to whatever you put it to. And then you can put also the age range that you want. 18 to, I think it'll go up to like whatever you want, like up to like 75 or something like that. So it lets you do that. But anyways, without getting into too much detail, I just want to talk about Tinder, like an overall, my overall insight about it, my personal preference. So Tinder was super, super popular. I would say a lot of people were using it. That was 2012. Now we're in 2024, and I would say Tinder has fallen off significantly. If you do the numbers, I'm sure there's a lot of different profiles still on Tinder. If you look at how many profiles were on it when it first started compared to now, I'm sure it's not too far off. But when I say Tinder has fallen off, I say it's just got a bad rap. A lot of people consider it kind of like a hookup app. And just slowly over the years, I feel like it's died down. For my personal preference and people that I know that have used it, now in 2024, it's, a lot of fake profiles and a lot of girls that are just like selling themselves and trying to get likes on Instagram, and just a lot of girls or guys that are, mainly I feel like the guys are still real profiles on there and looking for people. But I feel like a lot of the girls have the fake profiles and stuff like that. But, all in all, I think Tinder just is not that good anymore. I wouldn't recommend it. When it first came out in 2012, I would have recommended it because everybody was using it and it was so easy to meet somebody. And my overall view on dating apps in general, I feel like for a um, single person that wants to meet somebody, to not use dating apps is just, I feel like it's such an advantage, and it gives you such a opportunity to meet people when you're using them. Obviously people can be a little old school and go to a bar or a restaurant and see somebody they like and approach them. But I feel like, using a dating app like Tinder, it's so easy to meet somebody and talk to them without having to be nervous about, doing it in person. So overall, using dating apps, I highly, highly, highly recommend them. Um, I feel like the statistics about relationships and dating apps, I feel like maybe it's I think I read somewhere where it's like 1 in 5, something like that. Relationships start online now, so it's fairly common. I feel like before, people were a little embarrassed meeting somebody and dating them and then telling people where they met, but I feel like now it's not as bad. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't really recommend Tinder anymore. There's a lot of other dating apps out there that are really good. I'm going to be posting videos individually about different dating apps, actually the most popular ones. But yeah, guys, overall, wouldn't recommend Tinder right now. If we were in 2012 or 2015, I would. But I still know people that have success on Tinder. Um, I think it's just different areas have better luck. Maybe different states, different countries. I'm not sure, but I think the overall gist of Tinder is, it got a bad rap over the years, um, becoming more of like just a hookup site and something that's very casual. And I think the whole why that happened is because being able to meet somebody with the swipe of your finger very quickly seems casual in and of itself, not necessarily sexual, but it just seems casual. And then it just kind of carried over to how people meet and interact, and yeah, so wouldn't recommend it. Watch my other videos on the different dating apps to see what I would recommend. And I'm not saying Tinder won't work for you, but I'm saying is that if you try it, I don't think you'll have much luck on it. I think you'll have better luck on different dating apps other than Tinder. So if you want to try it, be my guest, but wait for the other videos on the ones that I highly recommend and that I have used and had better luck on. Anyways, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section on what you think of Tinder currently and if you have any luck with it. All right, guys. See ya.